I canceled my son's birthday party because he destroyed a dead boy's hoodie. That's the sentence that has my family calling me a monster. That's the sentence my ex-wife is throwing around like it's proof I've failed as a father. But it's also the sentence I repeat to myself every night before bed, trying to remind myself that I did the right thing. Let me tell you what happened. My name's Mark. I'm 45. I have a 16-year-old son named Leo from a previous relationship. And 4 years ago, I married my wife Sarah, who had 2 sons of her own. Connor, who tragically died in a motorcycle accident at 20, and Derek, who's now 12. I never got to meet Connor, but in our home, his presence lingers in framed photos, in stories Sarah tells when she thinks no one's listening, and especially in the heart of little Derek, who adored his older brother with the kind of pure, innocent love only younger siblings seem to have. Connor was Derek's hero, his protector, his everything. And when he died, Derek broke. He clung to anything that reminded him of Connor. A photo, a song they used to sing, but most of all, a hoodie. A faded, slightly oversized hoodie that once belonged to Connor when he was a teenager. It's gray, the kind of old cotton that's softened with age, worn thin in some places. But to Derek, it's not just a piece of fabric. It's memory. It's safety. It's Connor. He wears it constantly. At breakfast. On walks. Even when it's hot outside, he keeps it nearby. And as his stepfather, I've respected that bond. I never tried to force him to move on or grow out of it. I just sat with him in it, listened to stories, looked at old photos. I did what I could to be present for a boy grieving something no 12-year-old should ever have to grieve. And over time, we built something, me and Derek, a quiet, gentle bond. It wasn't forced. It was just 2 people who understood the language of loss. But not everyone in this house was so understanding. Leo, my son, never really connected with Derek. And that's okay. Not every step-sibling relationship turns into a hallmark moment. They're different kids, different personalities. Leo is bold, outspoken. He calls himself brutally honest, but more often than not, his honesty cuts like a knife. He'll say things like, "I'm just being real," when what he really means is, "I don't care how this makes you feel." At first, I let it slide. Kids will be kids, right? I told myself it was harmless teasing. But over time, his comments started to sting. He'd make jokes about Derek being sensitive, about how he shouldn't be acting like a baby over a brother who's been gone for years. Sometimes it was subtle, a smirk, a sarcastic tone. Other times, it was direct. And every time I confronted Leo, he'd shrug it off. "Okay, I get it," he'd say. "I won't do it again." But he always did. And then came the day everything changed. A few days ago, Leo asked Derek if he wanted to come hang out with him and his friends. I was surprised. They don't usually spend time together. But Derek lit up. He was excited, maybe hoping this would be a step toward something better. He pulled on Connor's hoodie, like armor, and said yes. Leo saw the hoodie and scoffed. "Dude, that thing is ugly," he said. "Can't you wear something else?" Derek didn't flinch. "I'm wearing this," he replied, "or I'm not going." Leo rolled his eyes. "Whatever." And they left. Hours passed. Then the front door creaked open. I heard Derek before I saw him. Quiet sniffles. Heavy footsteps. He walked in holding the hoodie, but it wasn't a hoodie anymore. It was pieces. Shredded fabric, torn sleeves, threads dangling like open wounds. I could barely recognize it. Derek was crying. Not loud sobs. Just that quiet, broken kind of cry that kids do when they feel truly, utterly powerless. I dropped what I was doing and rushed to him. What happened? He couldn't even get the words out at first. But then they came, stammering and shaky. Leo and his friends had convinced him to take the hoodie off while they were hanging out, told him they didn't want it getting dirty. He believed them. He left it in the other room while he used the bathroom. When he came back, it was in pieces. I was shaking. I didn't yell. I didn't need to. I walked straight to Leo's room. Why? I asked. He was on his phone. Didn't even look up. It was my friend's idea, he said. I stared at him. And you thought that was okay? He shrugged. It was old. Embarrassing. He wears it everywhere. Maybe this will help him move on. Move on. He said it like he was doing Derek a favor. Like cutting up his dead brother's hoodie was some act of tough love. I stood there stunned. And then I made the decision. Your birthday's canceled, I told him. No party, no friends. You're grounded. He snapped. You can't do that. My birthday is a right, not a privilege. He actually said that. Like somehow he was entitled to celebration. Even after intentionally destroying the one thing that gave a grieving boy comfort. He called his mom, my ex, and she called me. You're being ridiculous, she said. This is extreme. He's 16. He made a mistake. Don't ruin his birthday. But I didn't budge, because this wasn't just a mistake. It was cruelty. It was premeditated. It was about power, about humiliation, about punishing a child for grieving. I said no. She offered to host the party herself. I told her she could, but not while Leo was grounded, not in my house, not under my roof. And then the texts started. Her family, her friends, calling me heartless, saying Leo will hate me for this, that I'm picking a replacement son over my own. But none of them were here when Derek came home with that hoodie in his hands. None of them saw the look in his eyes. None of them stood there while a 12-year-old whispered, "Why would he do that to me?" So, yeah, I canceled Leo's birthday party because some things matter more than cake and candles. Because some things can't be fixed with, "I'm sorry." Because when someone shows you who they are and laughs while tearing apart the memory of a dead boy, you don't reward them with balloons. You show them consequences. You teach them empathy. Or at least, you try. So, am I the asshole? This story isn't just about a birthday party. It's about the invisible threads that hold a family together and the quiet cruelties that can tear them apart. It's about grief and how some people carry it like a weight they can't put down, while others treat it like an inconvenience to be mocked. It's about the difference between being honest and being unkind. And maybe most of all, it's about what kind of men we're raising. Because Leo didn't just cut up a hoodie, he cut into the heart of someone who still believes in the goodness of people. Someone who still looks up to big brothers. And at 16, Leo is at a fork in the road. He can choose to keep walking down a path of entitlement, cruelty, and deflection, backed by parents who excuse everything because he's just a kid. Or maybe he learns that choices have consequences, that sometimes love means saying no, that sometimes the deepest lessons come when the party's over. So here's the question for you listeners. What would you have done? Was the punishment too much or not enough? And when does a birthday stop being a right and start becoming something we earn? Let us know in the comments. This is AITA Story Vault. Until next time, choose kindness, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard.